In today's video, I'm going to be comparing 5 different work tees, 3 of which you probably know, but 2 which might be a little unfamiliar. So, it's summer, we're all going back to work. Which t-shirt is on your back? On the job site, at least the ones that I go to, regular ratty old t-shirts are just as ubiquitous as boots. And most of the time, there's some high-vis, nasty-looking thing. And the world of work t-shirts is way more vast now than it ever was. I mean, now we have things with like jade sewn into the fabric for self-cooling, different weights, different textiles, and it'll really depend on what you're doing and where you are. You know, the first electrical contractor I ever worked for, he made a little bit of a mistake with the t-shirts that he had ordered for us. He wanted the little chest logo right here, like you see on most, company t-shirts. Somewhere along the lines, things got mixed up and we all got these massive logo on the front. They looked ridiculous. The logo was about as big as the front of the shirt. And it was that really like ironed on kind of feeling material. They didn't breathe. It was horrible. I hated those shirts. So for this video, our subjects are the Ariat Rebar tees, the 1620 Workwear NYCO Work t-shirt, the Patagonia Workwear Pocket Tees, the tried and true Carhartt K87s, and the American Giant Heavyweight Pocket Tee. Now, I wanted to include a shirt from Duluth Trading, but shipping for a t-shirt was $10. On sheer principle alone, I couldn't spend that much money on shipping a damn t-shirt. Now, which of these t-shirts will be best for you will depend on your needs and what job you're doing, but I've worn all of these in the heat, doing a couple of different jobs, both at work and here at home. Really tried to put them through their paces to get a good feel for which t-shirt is best for which task. The Patagonia tees are the most expensive of the bunch at $39 each. Now, this will be enough to make people immediately skip over them, but hold on a second. There's some really nice features to consider here. The layout is pretty typical of a pocket tee, but the real secret sauce here is that fabric. It's a thick 8.4 ounce, 55% industrial hemp, 45% organic cotton blend, which Patagonia claims is more abrasion resistant while still having a softer and more comfortable feel. It's really difficult to judge the abrasion resistance without wearing this tee for an extended amount of time or in a really, really harsh environment, but the feel is definitely the softest of the bunch. It feels like pre-broken in, almost like it's a few years old, but it's not threadbare or worn out. And this makes the Patagonia the most comfortable. But here's the downside. When you begin to sweat, the fabric becomes pretty soggy feeling. I don't know if hemp tends to retain water better than cotton or what, but I'll tell you this much. If you sweat a lot or if you're in a damp environment, these wouldn't be my first pick. Now, I got them in the winter time and they were fantastic, but once the temperature started rising, these started to become less appealing and I started reaching for them less and less. Now, the fit, it's traditional workwear style, so size down if you want a trimmer fit. The shirts are only available in drab colors, which is likely due to the hemp component, but I actually kind of like the look of them. They're not overly saturated or too bright. They just look like workwear. The Carhartt K87 feels like an old friend. It's the one that I know the best, and I've seen a ton of these which look like they've served dozens of years or more on the job. And they're inexpensive too, at $16. They occasionally go on sale, like the 2 for $25 deal that Carhartt had last year. And this is really where Carhartt shines, is offering high-value goods which are priced to work. 6 3/4 ounces of 100% cotton make up the tees, although this does change when you select some of their heathered colors to a cotton poly blend. The fit is generous, as you'd expect for workwear, and the layout is traditional pocket tee that you know and love. Now, if you want a trimmer cut and a lighter weight, check out the Force Delmont tee. Now, that's probably the one for you. I've always considered the K87 and the Force Delmont as bookends to the t-shirt spectrum. On one hand, you have the sort of 1-ton pickup of a t-shirt in the K87. It's really ready to do all the heavy lifting you need. And then you have the sport truck like the Ford Lightning in the Force Delmont, which could just as easily be worn at the gym as on the job. Since it's been around for a long time, the K87 is available in a ton of colors and even some really interesting limited edition ones for different seasons. Now, while American Giant probably isn't the first brand that comes to mind when it comes to workwear, they make some really great products which have a strong workwear element to them. The classic hoodie has reinforced forearms, for example, and the pocket tee seems designed for service. Overall, it's burlier than the other American Giant tees with a thicker ribbed collar and the addition of a chest pocket, of course. The price is $36, which is on the higher end, but you also have to consider that this is one of the tees that's made in the USA from American cotton. So for those of you who like to buy American, this won't be much of a shock. We're kind of used to paying a little bit more. Now, the fabric itself is 6.2 ounces, and the fit is much trimmer than the others in this list, much more like the Carhartt Force Delmont that I mentioned previously. The tee is only available in 4 colors at the current time, but they're staples and they're likely to be the ones that you would pick anyhow. This tee, in a way, feels like the little brother to the rest of the lineup, not only because it's a lighter fabric, but also because it's sized more like what most of us have come to expect from a t-shirt. 1620 Workwear is a relatively new brand, but it's one that I'm really excited about. Now, they have a dedication to making everything in the USA and are using tech fabrics in nearly every item that they make. Now, the tee that we're looking at today is the NYCO Work t-shirt, which comes in at $36. Now, from the get-go, this appears to be the simplest of the group, with no obvious branding or even a chest pocket for that matter. At first, I kind of thought that this was just a stock black t-shirt, which was, something that 1620 kept on their website just so they had a t-shirt option. But looking a little bit closer, it became clearer that this work shirt, it has a few hidden surprises. First is the material, which is a nice thin 4 1/4 ounce blend of cotton and Cordura nylon. Now, this is a blend which they claim is 4 times more abrasion resistant than 100% cotton. It supposedly dries in less than half the time, and it also meets NFPA no melt, no drip standards. Now, that last one, it might be of particular importance to you if you work near heat or sparks all day. There's a very stealth 1620 logo on the hem, and the fit is very much like traditional workwear. The model I have here is a medium, and I'd recommend sizing down from your regular t-shirt size if you want a trimmer fit. The lack of a chest pocket, it's kind of a bummer. I like a chest pocket. But if you tend to wear your tees as a base layer, or you just don't like a chest pocket, well, then this might be a benefit to you. Last but certainly not least is the Ariat Rebar. Now, you guys spoke so highly of this t-shirt that I had to see what all the fuss was about, and I'm glad I did. At 6 ounces, 100% cotton, there's some really cool features that this shirt has, like a drop tail hem, and this particular feature is really nice, especially if you're working in someone's home and you have to be careful of the dreaded plumber's crack. The fabric under the arms is perforated to aid in airflow, which is a welcome thing on those hotter days. You probably won't notice a huge cooling sensation or anything like that, but I think this is one of those small details that adds up to a more comfortable wearing experience. Moving up, we have the pocket, which seems normal enough from the outside, except for that on the inside, its top edge is reinforced with a nylon strip. Now inside, you'll find a little loop that's meant to hold your pen or your pencil in one place. This addresses the major drawback of pockets on t-shirts, in that stuff tends to fall out of the pockets when you bend over. The shirt is typically oversized, and the material doesn't have a ton of structure, so often you'll end up dumping out the contents of your pocket on the floor by accident when you bend over. The loop is simple, effective, and you can't even feel it. Now, my shirts have the Ariat branding on the back and a little styling on the shoulder, but these are available in a bunch of colors with or without the branding. The fit is traditional with a generous cut, so size down if you want something a little bit more trim. Okay, so my takeaway from testing all of these t-shirts is that if you need a thicker, burlier t-shirt, say you're working in colder weather, then the Patagonia and the Carhartt K87, they're gonna be your best friend. When you layer these things underneath a flannel shirt, or even if you wear them on their own, that additional thickness and heft, it really does come in handy. If your biggest issue has always been fit, well, then I think that the American Giant is probably the best of the bunch for you, because it fits just like you would expect the t-shirt to fit if you buy any other t-shirt. Most of the time, workwear is not only oversized, but it's exceptionally boxy. The fit of this one is much more of an athletic cut, and if you're somebody who's always bought workwear, but you hate the fit, the American Giant might be the best bet for you. If you're somebody who likes features and you tend to work in the heat, or if you just run a little bit hot, I think the Ariat is probably the best one. Now, it has a ton of those little features, the strip around the pocket, the little keeper, the drop tail hem, the fabric underneath the arms that's perforated. It just has a lot of really cool, interesting, techie kind of features. And a lot of guys like that sort of thing. So you combine that with a lighter weight, and this one really is a joy to work in. The 1620 Workwear model is the lightest of the bunch, and I think that when it comes to working out in the heat, it's probably the best. However, I would of course steer away from the darker colors if you can. You want something a little bit lighter if you're working in the sun. Otherwise, you're just attracting that heat, and it doesn't matter how thin the material is. It's also nice and stretchy. I mean, it kind of feels like you're not wearing anything at all. In the heat, this is the one that I would grab. Have you ever wondered what you get with a pair of $500 work boots versus a pair of $200 work boots? Well, if so, go ahead and check out my video on that right here. Until next time, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.